Welcome to Kids Express.
Join us as we see kids express their love for Jesus
while developing their character.
on Kids Express!
Welcome to 3ABN's Kids Express. Today we're going to meet an energetic young lady who likes to have fun, yet wants to improve getting even better grades in school, even though she gets fairly good grades. I'm Aunt Francine.
And I'm Stephen. Shall we do Where in the World?
Yes.
Can you guess where in the world today's guest comes from? Can you identify what state this is? Or country?
I think it's a state.
If you guess Missouri, you would be correct. Let's welcome Naya.
Welcome, Naya.
Hi.
Wow, what do you have there?
Toasted ravioli.
Toasted ravioli. Oh,
That sounds good.
Snack for Missouri, right?
Yes, it is.
Ooh, and you like eating them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you help
Really
your mom
good.
make them?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So tell us about your state.
Missouri has some of the most beautiful sights to visit and the most fun activities there. One of my favorites is going to see the waterfalls or going to the park or even the aquarium.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds like fun. So
There's the Gateway Arch, the tallest arch in the world.
you're right. I've never been up it. I hear you can go in it.
Yes.
You ever been in it?
No, I have not.
Either. It sounds interesting. You can see it when we drive to the airport.
Yes.
That's kind of interesting.
I've seen it before.
You've seen it before. Very interesting. So one of my favorite aspects about Kids Express is how they express the love of Jesus by sharing with others and how they're witnessed. So tell us a little bit about how you're witnessing to others.
Well, when I go around from church to church and singing, I just really love seeing how people, they're so full of joy when they just hear my brothers and I sing and how we just fill their souls with the Word of God.
And you have a little ministry, and we call your ministry K Voices, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and you helped us with some Christmas programs.
Yes, I have.
And so that has been a delight. Is there anything else that you do to be a witness in your community, like at school or anything?
Yes, at school, I go around and I help other classmates, knowing Jesus more. And in my neighborhood, I also go around and my dad and I, we go around and we just help neighbors shuffle snow that they can't. And we also go around and pray with people.
So you were talking about shoveling the snow for some of your neighbors. That takes a lot of work, and then by that you're able to do a little more witnessing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
And so they're more open to it. So what kind of conversations have you had with some of your neighbors?
With some of my neighbors, I've had conversation about the second coming of Jesus or how much Jesus loves you and the birth of Jesus and all that.
That's kind of exciting.
Good Bible stories.
Yeah, that would be a wonderful witness, because I think all of us could get a shovel and start shoveling a little bit, because that's hard work. I mean, if you need some exercise, that's one way to get some exercise,
Yeah,
right?
because some people are sick, they can't do that. If they do that, they're going to get pneumonia or something.
Right. I think Ginger's having fun over here, digging in there a little bit. But so I'm glad that you're using that. And you started singing at a very young age?
Yes,
How
3.
old? At 3.
I think I sang when, I don't know, but I was like something like this there, but
So
now I sing more strongly. And
that's a good point. Have you ever been scared going up front, or you used to be and no longer, or?
No, I've always been a pretty confident girl. When I was very young, I would just go on stage and just wing it. I just had no nerves whatsoever.
Your family must practice a lot, because your whole family, I believe, sings.
Yes.
So you've just grown up singing from really young.
yeah,
So how often do you practice together?
I'd say almost every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks? You don't do it every week even?
No, because there are a lot of things going on. Our family's pretty busy, and there just can't be practicing all the time, because sometimes John would be out of the house doing something for a church or Kenley, and they're
It's hard to get together now that
Yeah.
you're older. That makes sense. That makes sense. So tell us if there was one character trait that you wanted to talk about and to be more like Jesus. What would that be? I know I mentioned something in the beginning. Go ahead. Well, you did mention something about wanting to get better grades.
Yes.
And so I mean, I hear from your dad that you still get A's and maybe sometimes B's, but you mainly get A's. Why do you want to get even better grades?
Well, I mostly get A's, but I want to change that to completely like all A's. No B's or anything, just all A's, so I can get good scholarships and go to a good college and all that.
And I like how you mentioned earlier, too, that you wanted to be able to help your classmates.
Yes.
Yeah, so in order to be able to do that, you've got a
Have to get good grades.
That is pretty good, yeah. Yeah,
That's pretty good.
And as you get older, you'll find out that having good grades is more important, like you were
Yes.
mentioning. What grade are you in? Do you mind me asking?
I'm in 5th grade.
5th grade. So yeah, the more you get, closer to 8th and
Yeah.
high school level or academy like your brother and then college, it's very important to have good grades. So what are you doing to help you even improve your grades, even though your grades are fairly good? What are you doing to get that better?
I am studying really hard, like most of the time. I'm just studying in my room and making sure that every question that is on that paper is right. I mean, still there might be some wrong answers, but I still want to make sure that I get a really good score on that test or quiz.
Yeah, what do you do, Stephen, to help you?
Well-
you want to get a really good grade, for example, on a test, or what do you do?
So, I put the paper in front of me and say, okay, what do they want it to do? Like, for example, history. I'm good at history, but let's just,
Because you like stories, right?
yeah, I like stories. Well, or let's say math. I do not like math. I can just tell you that.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
My daughter Amanda had trouble too.
Yeah, I see the math problem, I'm doing multiplication, so 5 times, 15 times 16 or something like that. I first think in my head, what's the question?
Good.
What's the math thing? And then
And solve it.
and then say, how would Jesus do this
Or
math
what-
problem?
That's a good point. Or
And then-
how do you solve that problem?
And then you shuffle it up. Then you say, okay, and then when you get to the final part, after that you need to check. Try checking, and then you give it to the.
I like what you're saying, and you pointed out something really good. We all have different learning styles. Did you know that? Some of us learn by visual, which means you see. And so what would help a visual learner that is studying for an exam or studying for school? What would you do?
You would like visual. You just look at it, work it in your head, and then put the answer.
Oh, could you draw pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would have a journal and I would draw pictures or draw graphs, and sometimes using colors for a highlighter.
Yes, I do that.
Sometimes that helps. And sometimes it's even just closing your eyes and imagining a visual, a picture that goes with whatever you're studying. So every time you can put something into perspective and experience, were you
Yes.
going to say something?
Yeah, I'm a visual learner as
Okay.
well.
That's good that you know.
Yeah. And something that I do is I take another piece of paper, I draw, and then I color code.
Okay.
So then, when I'm in school and the paper is in front of me, I remember those colors that I used for the answers, and that is what mostly helps me when I'm doing these tests.
You're right. And some of us learn by auditory learners, and we can learn by what we hear. So if you had to learn by hearing, what would you do to be able to study?
You would for example, history. Who was the first president of the United States? And I could just say George Washington.
So you're talking about saying it out loud and asking questions, okay?
I would listen to the teacher's lesson and stuff, and auditory learners, they hear it and then they kind of it kind of sticks in their head and they memorize it until the actual quiz. So
And sometimes just repeating it
Yes.
themselves constantly. And sometimes some people even bring tape recorders to be able to replay it because that's how they learn. And even asking each other questions aloud instead of reading it. Sometimes that's how some people would like to learn. But you both are musically talented. So I'm thinking
create a song that you can remember.
a song or a little jingle that would help you remember. Yeah, that would be a creative way to do that.
Or in my version, you could do a little sermon about it.
You could, or make some kind of rhythm and rhyme. Now, we also have, there's one more kind of learners, and it's the kinesthetic learner. Now, that means somebody that, it's usually these people that have to fiddle with something. So if you're a person that likes to do things, how are you going to study for a test when you like doing things?
Like you could do like, if you're for the little kids, you could do, what's 1 + 1? And like 2 + 2, and you said 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4. And then you would write it down.
So you're right, doing body movements. Did you have some suggestion too?
Yeah, I was helping my little brother one time with his math, and he cannot stay still. And so I was helping him by like doing some hand movements or some, like some actions, and for him to remember everything and all the equations and all that. So I think it worked.
I think you're right. Anytime you do body movement, some people do jumping jacks as they're learning.
Yeah,
and they're saying them out loud, and that might help. I mean, do whatever works for you, but it is a good idea to kind of learn what learning style you do best at, and your parents can help you decide on which style works for you, and then you can try to use that when you're studying for these tests or studying for school. Now, I think it's time for our Bible verse, and let's go to James 1, verse 2 through 5. Naya, would you kindly read that for us? It's James 1, and I believe it's 2 through 5. Go ahead.
My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him.
So we earnestly need to search out for God's will, right? And have patience. Because even when you're studying and trying to get that A all the time, maybe you don't always get 100%, but maybe it's only that 99%. We need to have that patience that God is working through us. I think it's time for a question.
Yes, this question goes to you, Aunt Francine, from Amanda in the Cayman Islands, and she asks, what do you like to do in your free time? And I think this is for all of us.
I think we can all answer it quickly. What do you like to do? Real quick.
I love to do art, and I love to, be active and do some sports and stuff. And I just love to go around the house and sing at the top of my lungs, because, well, yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
How about you, Stephen?
I like preaching, acting, singing, playing, yeah.
I agree. I love being outside, and I love being creative too and making things. But I want to spend time with Jesus.
Yeah.
And I think that's my favorite time, especially if I'm outside and reading the Bible outside. That's like my favorite sweet place to be, is wherever I can learn more about Jesus. Naya, thank you for joining us on Kids Express.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us on Kids Express.
Let's have some.
Oh, yes. Let's have some toasted raviolis.